Welcome to the official Butthole Podcast, bringing you everything you need from sports to entertainment. Now, introducing your host, Scott, the Great Brandino, Gage's Rage, and Star Lamar.
All right, everybody, we got episode 155 of the Butthole Podcast, bringing you the Week 7 fantasy fallout and a look ahead to Week 8 in the NFL season. First off, we'll bring our sponsors, Shock Fantasy. Matt Harrison's Shock Fantasy is a great website that you can use to log in and find stats on all sorts of players, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. If you play fantasy sports, if you play daily fantasy sports, weekly fantasy sports, Shock Fantasy is the website for you. If you use that promo code BUTTHOLE when you sign up, you'll be able to get it for a yearly membership for 6.9 cents a day.
Nice.
Yes, very nice.
I think I got it, but just in case, tell me the whole thing again. I wasn't listening.
All right, that is shockfantasy.com. You go there, you use promo code BUTTHOLE. You'll get a yearly membership for 6.9 cents a day. And that is going to come out to a total of 25 cents for the whole year.
25.
$25.
Command Z, back.
Undo. Yeah. And that's our Minnesota boy, Matt Harrison, bringing us shockfantasy.com. Awesome website. As well as our second sponsor, Thrive Fantasy. Thrive Fantasy is a weekly props betting website that you can bet on fantasy football props, actual football props. You know, if you were to bet Patrick Mahomes getting over 3.5 touchdowns, that absolutely would have hit this week.
Would have hit by 1.5.
Without a doubt. You could also bet on esports, baseball, basketball, any sport that you can think of. It's on Thrive Fantasy. It's an awesome props betting website. Gives it a little different twist on the daily fantasy sports where you're just picking players with a salary. It's a good mix that it's refreshing from time to time. And that's Thrive Fantasy. Use the promo code BUD. They'll match your dollar up to $250 with a minimum $20 deposit.
How awesome is it that they have like multiple different varieties of fantasy football? It's not just the standard redraft every year. There's a lot more to it. There's Dynasty, stars in a quasi keeper league type deal where you keep the players based on 2 higher picks or something.
Yeah, they're valued at wherever they drafted. If you kick them out of free agency, then they're valued at a 16th round pick, and you can keep them for up to 3 years for 2 rounds higher each year. So if you pull them out of free agency, you can keep them up to 3 years. The last year, they're going to cost a 12th round pick.
That's pretty sweet.
So it's a version of a keeper.
A version of a keeper league, yep. There's the Dynasty leagues. We're in the Guillotine League, still rolling strong with the Butthole Guillotine League. We did lose Scott last week, and that is why he is not with us today. He is still crying over his losses. Trying to...
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Are you sure Scott's not here? I'm pretty sure I just heard him.
That was our reaction after he took out his Guillotine League frustration in our yearly Butthole League. He absolutely had a trade sexual assault against a new member, and I think our $50 bet is in jeopardy for the yearly point scorer.
Star is still in the lead.
Star is still in the lead.
Not after today, though.
Yeah, this week was a rough week, and Scott had obviously benefited from the 5 touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes. But we'll get into that a little later. Should we start off with the injuries from the week?
Let's do it.
Yeah, it was a pretty heavy week this week in fantasy land. There was some pretty big players that went down. It started Thursday night. Calvin Ridley went down with an ankle injury. I don't think he played the rest of the game after that. And do they have a bye week coming up soon?
I think this next week is their bye.
Okay.
And then he's projected to come back week 11, is what I heard.
All right.
Wait, no, maybe they play this week, and then they have a bye.
So one more week, and then the bye, and come back after that bye?
Week 10 bye, maybe?
That sounds right. Darrell Henderson, running back for the Rams, went down with a thigh injury, and then Cam Akers kind of came alive later in that one. I don't think there's any results back from that, correct?
I haven't heard anything.
All right. T.Y. Hilton went down from the Indianapolis Colts. It was a groin injury. Not sure what the results are from that one, if he'll be back next week or if it's going to be a few weeks. But, yeah, the Colts pass catchers are pretty desperate.
Looks like he's evaluated through the week.
Okay.
So it's
That's
possible he's back, but...
something you're going to want to monitor throughout.
He's day-to-day more than week-to-week, but that doesn't mean he's not going to miss multiple weeks.
Yes.
Phillip Rivers only throws to running backs anyways.
That's
running
true.
backs and tight ends?
Yep.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, Trey Burton's solid pickup, maybe a bud plug of the week. Next up, we had Kenny G go down with a hip injury. And this is another one I think is going to be a day-to-day evaluation sort of deal. Possible to play this week against the Vikings, which, if he goes in, you definitely got to start him. But, monitor if he practices or not. Adam Humphries went out with the concussion. That was a dirty hit. Did you see that hit he took?
I didn't see it, no.
It was a solid hit. I mean, I wouldn't say it's dirty, but dirty in like a good way. It was a hard football hit.
Looks like that. Who's the new guy on the Chargers? The running back, Pope?
Poke.
I
think it was Poke.
Like Polk?
Oh, Pope. Monetary Pope.
It is Pope?
Yeah,
okay.
Pope.
He took a hard hit from one of the safeties on the Broncos, and I mean, it looked in slow-mo, when you slow anything down, it looks worse than it is, like targeting and stuff like that, but it was a clean hit. He came in fast and aggressive, and Pope was going down, kind of getting tackled in the process of the tackle. There was no penalty called or anything like that. But
no, that was a clean hit. It was the shoulder pad. And I think this is like 2 plays after the same safety had taken out one of his own guys.
Yeah.
With the same, that dude's a hard hitter, man.
He can hit. Adoree Jackson, I think is his name.
Yep. Next up, Chris Godwin. I don't think we talked about him last week, but he had a finger injury on the touchdown catch from Tom Brady, and he ended up getting surgery during the week. So he will be out this week, and he is, after the surgery, it was looking like it would be a 4 to 6 week beforehand. After the surgery, it's about 1 to 2 weeks is his prognosis. So there is a chance.
That's quite the difference.
Yes. Yep. That surgery helped him out a lot. If he could just, keep the stitches good and let it all heal within the next week and a half, he could play next weekend.
Which hand was it?
It was I believe his right hand.
Oh, man. Is he right-handed?
Yes, his dominant hand.
Going to be lefty for a couple weeks. Getting the
Stat
job done
correction.
at home.
It was Kareem Jackson.
Is it Kareem?
Adoree Jackson is on Tennessee Titans. I don't want Scott getting mad about
Yeah, we're giving the wrong player's name. All right.
We hit the ad reads. We're good on this episode.
We're all about
What
bringing
number
you hard
episode
facts.
is it?
150.
155. I said that too.
155.
We don't need you, Scott.
At 155, just so people know, there was a lot of haters out there going, you will never make it to 155 episodes.
That's what they said.
We said, watch, we'll make 155. So fuck you guys, and for anyone listening to 155, thank you for making it with us.
Hell yeah. Another player that I don't think we mentioned that just kind of came out of nowhere, Michael Thomas. That fucking ankle injury, hamstring, whatever they're calling it now. He was out again, hasn't played since week 1. Projected to come back next week, but I feel like this could be another one that just slips on by.
Well, Malcolm Jenkins calls him Slant Boy again. Who knows what happens? He's up there with the most disappointing player of the year. Right up there with Lamar Jackson.
I mean, if you took him number 2 overall, you got to be looking to sexually assault some people in trades to make up for that.
I would say. Maybe making absurd claims that Cam Newton might be a top 5 quarterback in fantasy.
Oh, come on, man.
Now, I heard this from a reliable source this
source.
weekend. In person.
Oh, shit. Okay, so then the 49ers, they just had a hell of a night. They brought Tevin Coleman back. He leaves with a knee injury, same knee that he had been sitting out for all season. Jimmy Garoppolo also leaves after not playing his best game in the third quarter with a high
Not
ankle
playing
sprain.
his best game is... I can't stand Jimmy Garoppolo right now.
Mullins looked good, too.
It was a solid matchup. The Seahawks give so much ground up to the freaking air.
Oh, man, you guys. I dropped Matt Stafford playing against the number 1 rated against quarterbacks, the Colts. He throws 3 touchdowns and damn near 350 yards, like 22 points. And I start Jimmy Garoppolo instead against the worst team against quarterbacks, 1.5 points. What is going on? Any of you guys want to make my roster decisions for me? Like, this is just rough.
Maybe this week, let's just let Twitter decide.
I should.
Yeah,
I
post
really
the lineup
should.
on Twitter and let them choose.
I'm not even out of it this week. If I can get 18 out of Evan Ingram tonight, I'm out of it.
Well, that's
I'm
out
out of it. Damn it.
And then lastly, George Kittle. He did something to his foot, left the game in the fourth quarter, didn't come back. The initial x-ray was negative, but he's kind of been limping around with this foot thing for a little bit now this season.
I saw broken
Broken foot?
8 weeks.
Oh, what? Is that new? That might be new. I
today
checked
at work.
this about like 2 o'clock, so...
Let's double check these butthole facts.
These are not butthole facts. They're just butthole injuries. So I was just about to say the coach was in an interview.
Maybe out for season.
Woo, doggy.
Yeah, bad one.
Coach was saying that he hopes Reed is ready to come back. So he was looking past Kittle, and obviously if that's some accurate news.
They just need to get the beaters into the brain there and turn those mashed potatoes a little thicker. Add some 2% milk or something.
Just catch that ball.
When Kittle was out, Reed wasn't a bad play. He had that 2-touchdown catch before he got this injury, and
2 touchdowns in 1 catch.
no,
That is impressive.
2-touchdown game is what I meant. Sorry,
Oh.
before this injury. Yeah. So Reed, another possible bud plug of the week. But yeah, I think that wraps up the fantasy relevant injuries. Obviously, some defensive guys go down, but yeah, that's what matters to us.
I don't think there's any more.
I can't think of any.
I didn't watch the night game.
It wasn't worth watching.
Yeah.
No.
Ben DiNucci.
Hopefully DiNucci got hurt, but he did not. So they're still rolling with the third stringer, the rookie 7th round pick. It was ugly. But I think we'll wrap that up in our next segment, 3 words or less.
I found this TikTok video.
Oh, shit.
Ben DiNucci, so showing a picture of Dak Prescott, Andy Dalton coming in, saving the day. Andy Dalton gets hurt.
Ben DiNucci.
Ben DiNucci.
Yeah. McCarthy's not making it longer than this year.
Do you think
You're
it's
on the
one and
Scott
done?
bandwagon,
I think
one
it's
and done
one
now?
and done.
If that.
They're keeping
Damn.
Ben DiNucci as the quarterback. He's done.
Did you said you didn't see it. So they were trying a lot of reversals. There was probably about 6 or 7 trick plays. Zeke took like 4 snaps out of the Wildcat. They were pulling everything out of the bag. And Wentz was absolutely trying his hardest to give this game to the Dallas Cowboys. But I digress. 3 words or less.
Don't hate on Wentz. He's like
I fucking hate Wentz.
he's a QB1 so far this year. Maybe.
I'd
have to-
check
don't-
that.
I
I'll
have to
butthole bet
fact
you.
check.
I'll butthole bet you on that. Let's do a live butthole bet on that. I would take him outside of QB1.
12-team league?
12-team leagues.
Yeah,
He's
12
QB
team.
13 or worse.
14 and a 2 QB super flex.
Come on. How
I
many
might
guys
take
have been
that.
injured?
Oh man, I can't do that.
Oh,
I
you
can't do it. I'm probably gonna win it too.
Oh, man.
We're looking it up right now.
Skirt.
I am scared. He's probably like 13.
All right. So
he's 8. Damn it, he's 8. I would have won.
Tough one there.
Does that include this week?
I think it does. But I mean, I'll list off his last 4 games besides this week: 21.42, 17.42, 29.42. There's a trend there, and 27.76. Like he's had 4 good weeks in a row.
Until I pick him
How
up.
did his team do?
Until you starve. This week, 8.62.
I mean, how did his team do in those performances?
First place in the NFC East.
I think they beat the Niners, didn't they?
With a losing record.
Well, whatever. First place is first place, right?
Tied the Bengals.
Yeah, that was week 3. Week 4, I think they beat San Fran. They lost to Pitt. They lost to Baltimore, and they beat the
Close
Giants.
games, though.
I think so.
Both Pitt and Baltimore were close games.
He's a turnover machine this year, though.
He came back late. It was a 2-touchdown lead that they
Him
scored.
and Cousins are battling that out. Who can turn the ball over the best?
Well, I'll tell you what, when you only throw 14 times, you're not going to turn it over that many, probably. And that's what Cousins did. He only threw 14 times this week.
It was a pretty solid week. But let's get into 3 words or less.
All right, let's do it. We'll rip it up.
And it's going to be the weekly summary too, right?
Yeah, we're changing it up a little bit. We're doing the fantasy summary, the game summary, and 3 words or less all at one time because we care about your guys' time. We're going to start out with Atlanta versus Carolina. I don't remember what the score was. Okay, do you want to look that up?
Sure.
But Atlanta beat out Carolina. I think it was like 27-22 or something like that.
25-17 or something.
That sounds
right.
Scott has Carolina has something. They may have lost, but Matt Rule is looking like a great hire and has Carolina playing good football overall. They were close in that game, though.
Was Atlanta.
It was.
Yeah, and they're using a wide receiver at running back. Getting C-Mac back will help a lot.
Yes, definitely.
Teddy got popped in that game. He came back, but he did take a good lick.
Mm-hmm. Thursday night, he's got an extra few days to recover from that.
Very true. Fantasy-wise, Matt Ryan, 18 points. He had a TD rush, which kind of saved his day. Otherwise, he would have been sub-12, I believe is what it would have been. Gurley ended with 10.6. I have to look up. I put a question mark here because the week wasn't over yet.
He's still an RB1, though.
I believe he is, but he was sitting at RB5 last week, and now after this week, he's RB7. So he's dropped down just a little bit, but he's extremely touchdown dependent.
Yeah.
He's got 8 touchdowns in total.
Hey.
And yeah, all on the ground. He hasn't done really much through the air at all, 4 receptions at the most. But with him being touchdown dependent, and touchdowns don't come every week, so a trend like this is really not that sustainable. Do you guys have him? I mean, do you think he's one of the top 12 running backs to kind of fall off the board here?
I do not, personally. I think that the way the league is shooken out, with the guys that are already banged up and are not going to play the rest of the year or have seen time off the field, if Gurley can just stay healthy, I see him finishing as an RB1. Atlanta's definitely using him. They're giving him touches. They're giving him goal line carries. He's getting all the right stuff. And then between the 20s, they're still keeping reps off him at the same time, giving Brian Hill some reps.
He did come out of that game several times too, though.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's a lingering issue or if he just got a stinger during the game because he'd come in for a play and then leave for 4 and come back in for a series, come back in for a play, leave for 4.
I don't know if they like Brian Hill more as a receiver and out of the shotgun, like pick up blocks and stuff.
I did hear that Gurley, they have him on kind of a snap count. They want to keep him healthy, so they're mixing in Brian Hill healthy.
Yeah, but they're still giving him his touches.
His last 3 games, averaging, I think it's 2.6 yards per carry, which isn't that good, yeah. But he has 1 touchdown in one game, 2 in another, and 0 in the third.
Yep.
So without that touchdown this week, I mean, he's got a 4-point game.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad. That's really bad. Are you buying, selling, or holding him then? You said that you like him. You think he's going to stay? You'd buy him right now?
Yeah, I bet you could get him for a pretty reasonable offer, and he's being consistent at the very least. You're saying the touchdowns will go away. I personally don't think so. I think he will get those opportunities, and he'll take advantage if he stays healthy. So I would personally be buying Todd Gurley because I think you can get him for cheaper than what you would normally get for an RB7.
I feel like the point you made earlier about the injured running backs and stuff like that, be hard to sell them if you had them.
Exactly.
We're coming into all the bye weeks for the next 5 weeks of the year. You kind of got to hold on. Like I had to start Adrian Peterson this week. There's no other running backs available.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Sorry about that. That's rough.
That is rough.
I feel like this year, especially, there's so many wide receivers, not that many running backs. You got a Todd Gurley, you almost got to hang on to him. You probably got him at a good spot in the draft, too.
Yeah, 4th, 5th round later on.
I'd be holding him. I don't think I'd try to buy him because that scares me. I don't know if he's going to continue that trend. I don't know if I'd sell him because he's being fairly consistent for you. I mean, he's had a couple of rough games. I think, it's 2 under 10, but the rest of them, I mean, 13-7, 15-2, 19-3, 25, 22. I mean, he's getting in that 15 range at least every week almost.
I'll look in the same game. If I can flip a Todd Gurley for a Curtis Samuel, wide receiver like that, that's kind of hit or miss, on the borderline. Maybe the Star's going to say that Curtis Samuel is worth holding over Todd, but
No,
I
was
would go
going
the
opposite.
opposite. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm
You would
thinking
never take
Curtis
that trade?
Samuel. Curtis Samuel's been getting carries.
yeah.
Christian
Scoring.
McCaffrey comes back. I think he loses those.
Oh, without a doubt.
And
yeah.
he's supposed to be back next week. I think Curtis Samuel is a sell.
Ooh, okay.
he's been all right though. I mean, he's getting you roughly. It seems like a floor of 9. He had 2 games under that, but the rest have been over. And then 11-4, 17-3, 21-4. Like Star said, 6 carries 2 weeks ago and 4 carries with the touchdown this past week. I don't see that happening, especially with Mike Davis too.
Yeah. They're definitely going to work McCaffrey back into the game. I don't think he'll come back, and it will take him 4 weeks, I think, a full month of games to get back to normal Christian McCaffrey. But even when he gets back to normal, I think he will not have the 99% share of running game. I think it'll be about 85 to 90. I don't think he'll ever see that workload again.
Yeah.
But he's still a god tier. He's still absolutely above any other receiver or running back. I mean, he's just a difference maker at the position.
Definitely. To wrap up Atlanta's side, Julio, his 3rd game in a row over 17 points. He's averaging almost 10 targets a game in those last 3 games. But his playoff schedule is fairly daunting. It's Chargers at 10 overall, Tampa Bay at 8, and Kansas City at 3. Is Julio a sell high candidate for you guys?
No, not me. I'm holding on to Julio if I have him. The draft capital, what you could get for him, not worth a sell.
Would you sell Julio Jones for Josh Jacobs?
No, I'm not a fan of the Raiders though.
Would you sell Julio Jones? Would you sell?
I would rather have Jacobs than Julio.
Yeah.
Would you rather
just
have?
because of running backs?
You have a Jacobs jersey too, right?
No,
Oh.
It's the same number.
Christmas.
Would you rather have Julio or Elliott?
Not Elliott. No, I'd take Julio there.
That one's tougher for me, just because their quarterback situation and offense in general has been trash.
He was kind of bad when Dak was still there.
And Julio, I'd read a stat, and I'm probably going to get this wrong. Sorry, Scott, but let me be free.
Free star.
That he has the most 100-yard games without a touchdown in the history of the NFL.
Oh, I believe that.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. So that consistency is there. You're a big guy about consistency. Gage is who I'm playing
Yep.
at. And you'll take those 15 points just off of yards and receptions every week as long as he keeps getting that. And he has been getting it.
Oh, yeah. He will for as long as he plays. That's who Julio Jones is.
For Elliott, we'll probably talk about him more later, but the last 3 games without Dak, 12, 6-1, 8-3. And he was averaging closer to 20-some points a game, like 22.5 points a game, roughly, over the previous weeks. That's a rough drop. I don't think I'd take Elliott over Jones. But what about, like, Montgomery and Robert Woods?
Give me Julio. He's good. Calvin Ridley goes down this week. Matt Ryan needs Julio to be successful. So that connection's always been there, both their whole careers.
All right, fair enough. Carolina side of the ball, Teddy only had 12 points. Mike Davis, Robbie Anderson, and DJ Moore all had under 10. Like we talked about, Curtis Samuel had really the only relevant day there.
Yep.
2 touchdowns, over 20 fantasy points. It'd be tough if you started Teddy this week because you had like Kyler Murray on a bye.
Yep. I agree. And you throw Robbie Anderson in the mix too?
It's a double goofy matchup. It's a Thursday night game, and then on top of that, it was also a divisional game. So there's always some just weirdness around division games.
Like we said, McCaffrey's coming back. Where do you value Mike Davis over the rest of the year? especially with a couple poor weeks in a row. He didn't play well last week. He didn't play well the week before.
I think what you've got out of him the last couple weeks is what you should expect moving forward.
Like
he might
8 points a game, maybe.
Yep,
roughly.
yep. Maybe about 10 touches.
Touchdown here and there.
Yep, a short yardage thing. Maybe
Or
receives
catch.
one and rips a screen far. But I definitely don't think he's a starter. Probably a flex potential kind of guy.
About the same boat. Or maybe a bye week fill in if it comes down to it or something. If you're missing a
Really
running
desperate.
back.
Yeah. Injuries.
New England versus Buffalo, 24-21. Buffalo wins. Gage.
This is a rushing quarterback duel.
Quarterback. Is that one word or 2 words?
It's one word, QB. Russian QB duel.
Okay. It is one word.
It is one word.
Yeah,
Don't make me
3
question
words
it.
or less is just, it's fake. It's a fugazi. It's just,
But you had
ofs
2
and
of the
does
best.
don't count.
You had 2 of the best, or not the best, but 2 in the top 5, I'd say. Cam Newton and Josh Allen going at it.
2 in the top 5.
Of rushing QBs, not fantasy QBs. I didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm not
all right.
Scott.
All right.
But 2 of the top 5 rushing QBs in the league right now.
I think Cam is top 5 rushing QB.
Lamar, Kyler, Josh Allen, Russ, and Cam. Yeah. I don't know if I'd put it.
I think Carson Wentz has more rushing yards than.
Fuck Wentz.
Honestly, I think he's got.
Here.
I think he's got more rushing yards than almost all those guys combined. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, shut the hell! I'm done with that.
I am almost.
I am literally done with that. Kyler Murray and Lamar are 1 and 2.
I'm looking it up right now. You roll through this and you talk about it. I'm
These
gonna
are
fact check
butthole facts right here.
So, both the quarterbacks had scored touchdowns on the ground. That's why I'm saying it. But also, New England's quarterback did fumble the ball when they were inside the 20 with a chance to kick a game-tying field goal in the last minute of regulation, but driving to score the game-winning touchdown in the last minute of regulation. I think Brandon's about to say Carson Wentz sucks, so I'm just going to keep going. Damian Harris on the New England side of the ball also had a freaking day. He busted a long one, ended with 102 yards and a touchdown. With 21 points, that's about all that New England had to do. Cam Newton wasn't effective in the passing game. No receivers are worth mentioning for the fantasy side. Buffalo, on the other hand, also struggled in the passing game. It's not on the other hand. They're on the same hand.
For 2 games in a row now.
I think it's his 3rd game. The Tennessee game was not great. It didn't look like the normal Josh Allen. But I will say New England had some whipping whirlwinds going on. They were gusty. It was bad throwing conditions for the passing game. So like I said, Allen was able to get that rushing touchdown, which saved him from having an absolute stinker of a game, but still just under 15 points overall. He found Diggs, 6 for 92. That was pretty solid.
That was the best out of any of the wide receivers. So.
Yep, Cole Beasley was.
But he was Allen really wasn't that great at all this game though.
No, yeah.
So and that translates to your wideouts too.
I think a lot of the New England games, especially right around the Great Lakes, there were affected by the wind if they were outdoor stadiums.
It was heavy wind. A lot of wind coming up from that hurricane down south, and that was affecting a lot of the games. Just to go back on my fact check
Wentz,
here.
let's hear it.
I was wrong.
Yeah, okay.
I was very wrong. It was
He does
touchdowns.
not have the most rushing yards of all of them combined.
No.
All right.
What?
It is not.
No way. Not
It-
2 running backs
it
that play
was-
quarterback.
It was touchdowns. That was the stat I heard. And I was also wrong on that after Cam Newton scored the rushing touchdowns last week. But Wentz has 5 on the year. Murray has 7 and Newton has 6. But he is outperforming Russ Wilson on the ground.
Okay. Oh, did I mention Russ Wilson here?
You did as a rushing quarterback.
After I had said that the 2 I named were top 5. Get out. You're a freaking clown, okay? I didn't mention him. I mentioned Josh Allen and Cam Newton. And then you bring in Wentz like he's some freaking god to football. No, not everyone blows North Dakota's dick like you and Scott.
He's
okay?
the savior.
All right, I'll continue. The Buffalo Bills found a running game. And it has to be both guys. It can't just be Zach Moss or Devin Singletary. They either both suck or they both do well. This week they both did well. Singletary had 86 yards. Moss had 81. Moss also scored the 2 touchdowns, so his day looks a lot better. solid flex play in one of my leagues.
Who would you rather have rest of the season, Moss or Singletary?
Moss.
I'm on the Moss bandwagon.
Clean sweep over here.
I think he's going to get the touchdown opportunities. Singletary, I think, will be more involved in the passing game, but Moss is definitely...
I think I would take Devin Singletary.
I
want to be
Scott,
different.
You're arguing with yourself right now. I know you're taking Moss on this one. You're so high on the Moss bandwagon.
Don't you
it's
own
crazy.
Moss?
I'm through and through a Singletary fan.
I'll trade you Singletary for Moss right now.
Straight up, send it over.
All right, sweet.
Fuck, you heard it on the podcast here, boys. Cam Newton, is he worth stashing? He's going to be a QB1 the rest of the year, right? Do you think he gets benched sometime throughout the season?
I mean, it's possible. He said it himself this week. If he can't start performing better, then yeah, he's definitely a bench candidate. I don't know if they actually go through with it. I mean, you really want to start Stidham?
Because now the Pats are, 2-5?
Yep.
It's pretty ugly.
The last time they were 2-5 was 2000.
Oof.
A year later,
Brady.
Brady came along.
Jets, Baltimore, Houston, Arizona, Chargers, Rams, Miami. I mean, his schedule looks fairly decent. Although he's not passing well. He's running well. He's got 262 yards, I think. 298 yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah, he's always going to be a fantasy option. I just don't know how much longer Bill Belichick will put up with it. And maybe he just lets him ride out the year. He knows that he's got his seat safe.
That's his best option.
It's his best option. Put him out there.
I mean, you're not starting Hoyer.
No.
And you're probably not starting Stidham. So it's most likely going to be Cam Newton. He's not going to be a QB1 by the end of the year, but I think he's going to be a valuable streaming option.
Without a doubt. Matchup dependent. And the next game we have here is Tennessee versus Cincinnati, 31-20. The Bengals upset the almost undefeated Tennessee Titans. Star.
Burrow owns the South. His 2 wins this year have come from the AFC South, the Jaguars and the Titans. But I'm going even further back to his Southeastern Conference days, where he also went undefeated last year against teams from Tennessee and from Florida. So that whole division, you're fucked. That's where he likes to beat you. They should have drafted him in the South.
They didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
Nobody had a choice. Well, the Bengals had a choice. Tannehill, 17 points, despite having only 233 yards and a pick. I think he ended up getting a rushing touchdown, which kind of saved his day. Stole away from Henry, so that would have put me at only 12 points for Evan Ingram this week. So fuck you, Tannehill. Henry, 112 on the ground with 1 touchdown. Corey Davis led the way for the wideouts. Did we talk about this on air, Corey Davis, A.J. Brown? Or was that off air? Might have been off air.
I believe that was off air.
Yeah, that was.
Davis had 8 for 128 on 10 targets. Brown had 4 for 24 on 7 targets. I think right now, and don't fact check it because I've been wrong twice apparently already today, but I'm pretty sure I heard today that Davis, they both played 5 games. And in the 5 games, Davis has more catches and more receptions, or more yards than A.J. Brown. I wouldn't take him over A.J. Brown.
Well, and the fucker got almost 100 more yards on him just this week.
Yeah, and that's through the 5 games. I don't know what it looks like, the splits on who played and who didn't or whatever
who
the
their
deal was.
matchups were when Brown was out versus...
Exactly.
Yep.
So I don't know any of that, but Davis has been playing fairly well. He's like wide receiver 40 on the season or something like that. So he's kind of been a little hit or miss, but nonetheless, I think he's worth having on your team and matchup dependent. I would start him. I should have started him this week. Sat him for Marquise Brown, DJ Moore.
Soldiers.
I still won, but still frustrating nonetheless.
Yeah. No, I'm going to take A.J. Brown. It's going to be a tough week here and there. I can't think of who Cincinnati has for cornerbacks.
Mackenzie Alexander. William Jackson III. Trey Waynes, but he's out.
And this game was in Cincinnati, right?
Bates?
Yes.
Do they have Bates?
I don't know if they do. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Do they still have Pac-Man Jones?
Yes.
Brown reminds
Prince
me of
Akamura,
DK Metcalf so
Akamura?
bad. He's
Prince
just
Amukamara.
huge. AJ Brown is 6'4". That dude is a specimen, man.
Brown is the one to have.
AJ Brown's not 6'4".
He's big.
Butthole bet?
Yeah, butthole bet.
No,
right
he
now.
might be 6'3". I'm not going to take that butthole bet. I'll take over 62.5.
Over 62.5, I'll still bet you.
You guys place it. I don't.
Tenner.
10.
And the butthole bet pays off for Star Lamar 6 foot.
6 foot?
Yeah, 6 foot
He
even.
looks so big on TV. What the fuck?
You're probably mistaken Corey Davis, who is 6'3".
No, A.J. Brown is number 11.
Yes.
Have you not seen the picture of A.J. Brown next to DK Metcalf?
No, I have not, obviously.
DK Metcalf is 6'4".
Yes. Yes, he is.
Well, maybe no. A.J. Brown is still a big boy, man. On that slant he had last week.
Yes. And
Yeah, he's a big boy and he can move fast.
he's like 3/4 of an inch taller than you.
I could be a football player. No.
Height-wise, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's 5'9" players out there making a living. But
Hell yeah, there is.
Jonnu Smith only had 2 targets, 2 for 29. It's a second disappointing week in a row. After I called him a must-start tight end no matter what, this is what happens. I'm sorry, Jonnu Smith owners. I'm sorry, Jonnu Smith.
Have you seen where he went on the week, though? Like, he probably could have still been a tight end 12,
He probably
13.
was a top tight end this week because tight ends is just a rough
bad.
position. Rough,
You gotta
rough.
put him in. He's gotta start every
I
week.
still think that he has the potential to get 2 touchdowns. He's right up there talent wise to stay in contention with Kelsey, Kittle if he's healthy, Darren Waller. He's a good big physical player. I like him. Bad week. Cincinnati side of the ball, Burrow 17 points. It was 17 points is a decent week for a quarterback, right? It's not great, it's not bad, right? It's right around the
Average.
top end of
You'll take it.
Yeah.
yes. But it was only his 3rd game under 300 yards. One of his
He's been
worst
balling.
weeks, and it's still an average week. I think he's still at QB1 right now. Gio had a 2 TD performance, ended with 22.8. Team heads into the bye, so I don't know if Mixon is coming back week 11, but I think he's
Week
ruled
10?
out early. Maybe
we're rolling
it's
into week
week
9,
yes,
right?
week 10. Sorry.
Yeah, I think the talks are that he'll come back after this bye.
Or maybe their bye is week 10 and he might come back week 11. I don't remember. Don't
Okay.
fact check it. Higgins, Boyd, and Tate all had 6 receptions roughly for 60 yards. That fluctuated a little bit, but Boyd found the end zone. He's been a touchdown monster, but Higgins had a couple good catches, and I mean he's getting targets too. So I think both those guys are solid plays. AJ Green kind of slumped back into that disappointing player that we've seen the first half of the year outside of the last 2 weeks.
I think what we had said earlier in the season, they were trying to showcase Green a little bit, maybe shop him around, see if they could get a pick for him, trade him to a team that needs a wide receiver. That's probably ended now. Back to the regular roles.
I could see New England. They need a wideout.
Really, though? Would you buy with what their team situation is right now?
They're strapped for cap, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
They're looking like a seller right now.
Yeah, I think there's more sellers than buyers this year. Not a lot of teams.
Green Bay could buy
interested
him. Fuller is on that list, but
Yeah.
Green is probably on that list as well.
What about John Ross? He wants out.
in- They won't get
Is
shit
he a
for
healthy
Ross. They're
scratch
just-
every week or what?
He's got 2 catches this year.
That's impressive.
Yeah, for him.
He had week 1 last year. He went off.
Who has more catches this year, Ross or Laquan Treadwell?
I guess Ross.
It's
Technically.
close. It's close, though.
2 off.
Neck and neck race.
Still time for a comeback.
Yeah.
Next game of the week, we have the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Cleveland Browns, 16-6. Raiders win, and wind, I suppose, is another way to put that too, because there's a lot of wind that game.
Yeah.
I call it ground and pound. That's how they won their game.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't pass for much. Nobody passed for much. I think both quarterbacks were under 150 yards, if I read that correctly. And then Jacobs, 128 in the ground. That's how they won the game, and the better running back carried the team to victory.
Without a doubt.
Like I said, wind was a big factor. Carr ended with 12.58 points. Jacobs, 128, no touchdowns, but solid week for just carrying the ball in a standard league. Bad day for Baker, back down to sub-8 after 1 week of having a 5-touchdown, no interception game. But it was, like we said, wind is a big factor in that one, and you can't necessarily hold that against them. Both
Some of
quarterbacks
those
battled tough.
Field goals were looking like boomerangs coming off the field.
I know, flying out there and then coming right back.
And did you see the Landry touchdown that was called back?
I heard about it. I didn't catch it.
They had some pretty nice plays that were just, last second kind of changing, and Landry did his best to adjust on the fly, but the ball...
I heard it was like a
hits the ground.
50-50. Yeah, like you could have seen it going either way, but...
It seemed like he had possession and then touched the ground with the ball, but you can't use the ball or the ground to retain possession, so... I see why they ruled it the way they did, but it was tough. A guy making that kind of play, just give it to the guy. Come on.
Landry had the best day, 4 for 52. Like you said, the touchdown called back, and then Kareem Hunt had 66 yards.
Pretty forgettable. 16-6, too. 6-6 on the scoreboard. Woo. Not good.
Next game of the week, Indianapolis versus Detroit, 41-21. Colts win. Scott's 3 words are Old Man Rivers. Numbers aren't pretty and never have been for Old Phil, but his teams rally around him, and the Colts look to be a good team. Not a great team, but a good team.
And the Colts defense is definitely top-notch. The young guys are playing well.
They have played not super great opponents.
Fair enough. But they're making plays, and you can't pick your opponents. All you can do is show up and play the way you do. And they play.
They seem to be a different team week to week.
You don't know what you're going to get. Yeah.
Against the Vikings, given we're not the greatest team, they looked great. This last week, they looked pretty damn good with no wide receivers doing anything.
Yep.
They're putting up 41 on Detroit, who is kind of an ascending team. People were giving them a little too much credit, me included, this last week. And they looked great again. So I feel like any given week, they could go out there and probably compete against any team. They could also lay a brick any given week, too.
What was I looking at? Other teams. So Jacksonville, Vikings, Jets, Bears, Cleveland, Cincy. I mean, not super great teams, but like you said, you don't pick your opponents.
Yep.
However,
and their division is pretty shit.
There is something to be said about who they're playing and how good their defense is. I think their defense is still good.
Yeah.
Top end defense, I don't know, but we'll see. I mean, they face Baltimore, Titans, Green Bay, Titans again, and then they have Pittsburgh week 16 too. So we'll see how that fares for them.
You chose to play a Jimmy Garoppolo against the Seahawks instead of Detroit's Matthew Stafford against this Indianapolis Colts D.
You know what? People try to forget those things, and then
you
bring them up on the podcast.
For fantasy reasons,
it made sense.
Stafford did have a good week, but for football reasons, Stafford was pretty shit. He threw a pick 6. He had some turnovers. He wasn't without fault here. The Indianapolis Colts absolutely clobbered. They took the lead early. They didn't even use the rookie Taylor. If he's nicked up, if he's healthy, whatever the situation is, Wilkins dominated. 89 yards, 1 score, finishes with 18.3 points.
Taylor had 11 for 22. 11 carries, 22 yards.
Yep. So something's not right. I'll just say that. The other running back, Nyheim Hines, he comes out for the first time since week 1 when he scored a shitload. He had the 3 catches for 54. 2 of them go for touchdowns, though. And
that helps.
The one was a pretty athletic play. I'll say that. The spin move to get to the goal line, it was pretty exciting stuff. Finishes with 21-ish points. The tight ends also did well. Indianapolis tight ends, if you're looking for a streamer, pick one of them up and
it's a shot in the dark. Tight ends are rough, so it's worth the stream.
Trey Burton rushed a second touchdown rushing instead of catching from the tight end. I don't know why they like doing that, but more power
they
to
do.
you.
Giants like it with Ingram, too.
Yes. Yeah. And then, who's their freaking starter?
Jack
Doyle.
Cox.
No, Jack Doyle. Healthy again. He scored as well. Or I don't know if he scored, but he had a good week. He was the top receiver for the passing game.
Hines was.
Yep. And you know what? Old Man Rivers was Old Man Rivers-esque, but he wasn't bad. He didn't fuck the game up. He had 262 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. I get the touchdowns were about 5-yard throws, but he's still doing the job. And he's got a 5-3 team now?
5-2.
5-2. Yeah. So, I mean, They have a chance to win the division. They have a chance to go to the playoffs
They're tied for first place right now, aren't they?
I believe they are.
with the Texans.
Titans.
Oh, the Titans.
Not
Yeah.
the Texans.
Texans are, never mind.
That's a flip around right there.
So,
Rivers is not worth the start, though. I wouldn't, at least not the next couple weeks. Baltimore, Tennessee, Green Bay. Tennessee
yeah,
again.
That's pretty ugly.
Green Bay could be okay because you're going to be playing from behind, but the other two are pretty good. And he finishes with Pittsburgh at the end of the year.
Yeah, okay. Never mind on Rivers. But what about Taylor? What do you guys think of Taylor? Is he in your fantasy lineups right now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was.
he's got to be.
I don't know if he's got to be. I hope he had better options than Jonathan Taylor the last couple of weeks. It hasn't been great. I mean, he had a good start to the year.
Yes.
I think they had a bye last week, so I can't count that against him. But, I mean, he was averaging around 12 to 14 points a game, somewhere in that range. And then the last couple of weeks haven't been that great for him. 4 points is not what you're expecting out of a team that should have been able to pound the ball in Detroit. And they did pound the ball, just not with him.
Not with Taylor, yep.
I mean,
exactly.
Obviously, there's concerns about him being nicked up, but I'm at the point of starting Justin Jackson over him. I
That's-
probably will this next week,
Yeah, as
especially
long
with
as
the injury
Eckler's still
concern.
hurt. Yep. Absolutely.
Bit of an ankle injury is what they're giving him.
Oh, he's on the injury list now?
Yeah.
Or injury report? Okay. Well, okay. There's some insight on Taylor there. So on the Detroit side of the ball, they had nothing going on the ground game. 29 total rushing yards. Split between AP and Swift.
Carry
Carry
on?
didn't even get a carry.
You got to catch, though.
He did get a
Receiving
catch, and he was
touchdown.
he was the only running back to freaking score. Kind of a three-headed monster there. They're still all getting action, still all getting touches, still all getting snaps. It's just a kind of game-dependent sort of situation.
They have to move into Swift. They just have to.
They will transition. I feel like it'll be once they're for surely out of contention. It's just a matter of when does that happen. So, and they also only had 13 carries total for the Lions. They got
Not
down
a lot,
early.
and they had to pass.
They
I
had to
get that.
pass, and that's what freaking Stafford did. Jones was the bright spot. He had 3 catches for 39 yards, but like Hines, 2 of them went for touchdowns. So
Oh, he got 2?
yeah, he
Wow.
had 2. So he ended up with 18.9 points. Pretty solid week for him.
With Galladay going down, I think Jones is a bud plug. Definitely.
And who does he play?
The Minnesota Vikings.
And
where
how
he's
does he do
guaranteed
against
to
the
get
Minnesota
100 yards
Vikings?
and at
he
least,
puts up hat tricks against the Minnesota Vikings.
at least 2 touchdowns and 100 yards. He will go off.
Rhodes is not here anymore, but he'll find a way.
Hawkinson also had a solid day for a tight end. He had 7 for 65, getting 13.5 points. The Hall cat for Detroit. Do you know who Hall is? Is it D'Angelo Hall's lost cousin or something?
I'm not sure.
He had the best receiving day for wide receivers with 113 yards on 4 catches. But with carry on scoring the touchdown,
It's Marvin Hall.
Marvin Hall.
Marvin
All
Hall for Detroit.
right.
Couple Marvins over there.
You have the Hall of Famer and AP carry on getting the touchdown this week, and DeAndre Swift being the early draft capital rookie. Which running back are you rolling with the rest of the season? D option being none of the above.
Swift.
Swift?
I think he's the most talented at this point in time.
Not taking a scapegoat. I'm not going to pick D. I'm going to pick one of them. If I have to pick one, I'm picking Swift as well. I think he's the most talented. They drafted him for a reason. They're giving AP carries, but eventually Swift, talent beats out name.
I'm with you
And
guys
that's
on
what
Swift
happens.
as
So
well.
Swift is going to be the guy to
He's
have.
the future.
I want nothing to do with carry on, and I'm spot starting AP if I have to.
Fair enough. Our next matchup was the LA Rams versus the Miami Dolphins. We kind of alluded to it earlier, but Miami wins this one 28-17. Brandon, you had 3 words.
Yes, D carries Tua. That's what they need. Defense
yeah.
and special teams had to carry Tua in this game. Like I alluded to earlier, Tua did not do well in the air. I'm looking up exactly what it was right now, but I know after halftime it was only at like 53 yards.
Yeah, 93 yards total and 1 touchdown, 0 picks.
Yeah, so
He did get strip sacked on his first throw of the game. So.
he got lit up on that. There was a welcoming party to the NFL with that one. But the defense
Hello,
did really
Aaron
well,
Donald.
and the Rams just they couldn't get anything going. It was bad. They were down a lot early, and they had a chance to come back and had a chance in that game. But Jared Goff played bad. However, his wide receivers played well.
Garbage time.
Yes, definitely. But I think Cooper Kupp had 21 targets.
Yes, Kupp had 21 targets. He turned that into 11 catches for 110 yards. So he ends with 22 PPR points total, which is a solid week, but the team overall, losing to a Dolphins team, starting a rookie quarterback for the first start in his career, that's an upsetting game for LA fans everywhere.
It has to be. But Dolphins aren't a bad team. I mean, they're a couple close games away from having
A really good record.
yeah, being in contention for first place in that division.
They're sitting at 500 right now. I think.
I think they're a game over, aren't they?
They might
Are they
be.
4-3 now?
I think they're 4. I think they were 3-3 going into the game.
And they have had their bye already, so that would make sense. Yeah, 4-3. Yeah, I definitely see them being a second half team to watch.
I would agree. And the reason that they put Tua in is because they think they have a shot at playoffs, and they think Tua gives them the best shot. It
Best
didn't show
opportunity.
this week. I think it's a little unfair to pull Fitzmagic at that point when he was playing so well. But Tua's the future, and you knew it was coming at some point, so might as well give him a chance to rally this team around and make the playoffs.
Get some wins while they're going. Gaskin also scored a goal line touchdown. He ended with 13.3 points. But like you said,
what you're expecting out of Gaskin.
the
somewhere
punt
around there.
return tutty, I think it was a fumble return touchdown that was about 80 yards. Defense
Two
dominated.
big scores, and that's what led the team. Now, I'd be interested to see what happens going forward, because that's not going to happen every week.
Yeah.
So I am curious to see on how Tua steps up, and it's going to get better.
In a
This
competitive
is
game
obviously not going to be the trend,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
On the Rams side of the ball, they had Robert Woods. He went off with 2 touchdowns. He had 1 rushing, 1 receiving, so he ends with about 28 points. So Kupp, like you said, he had the 21 targets. He turned it into 22 fantasy points.
Not
11
bad.
for 110.
I mean, I'd take 22. I don't care if it's garbage time or if it's in a legit game. I'll take that.
And we've said that the whole time. Kupp is the PPR guy. Woods is the high output guy that can get you those scores.
Yep.
He can also throw in those dud weeks where he's less than 10 points, but that's
Kupp
what you
is more
get.
consistent.
That's what you get when you're choosing between those two. And then the running game, Henderson, Brown, and Akers, they were almost evenly split with touches and the same production, all about 40, 45 yards-ish. This is kind of a running back by committee. Henderson went out with a thigh injury. Who do you guys like the rest of the season?
I feel like taking the scapegoat and taking D, none of the above. I don't really have too much interest in any of them. Henderson went out with a thigh injury,
Yep.
so it's a little concerning, but they want to give Henderson the ball. They like him.
Mm-hmm.
I know they drafted Akers high, but they do like Henderson. Malcolm Brown is kind of a goal line vulture, but if I had to pick one, assuming healthy, and we can't say for sure, but I would probably take Henderson.
I'm on the same boat as you. That's where I was going. Dynasty League, obviously I'd want Akers. They're definitely running the ball through Henderson this year, though, so
Yeah.
far.
Running out the contract or whatever the situation is with Henderson. I
This
agree.
is only his second year.
Yeah, he was
He
drafted
was
last
drafted
year.
last year.
Yep.
And they didn't use him last year.
Yes.
And I think he was a third-round pick. He wasn't a low pick.
No, he was a valuable pick.
Yep.
So.
So maybe they're hoping to have a two-headed monster between the two of them eventually, but right now maybe they're doing the same thing they did with Henderson last year and not using Akers.
And then to end it out for the LA Rams, Goff was horrible. He had the 4 turnovers against the Dolphins defense.
Bet you still more points than Garoppolo.
2 picks, 2 fumbles. Yeah, he had 355 yards on 61 attempts. I had to put that in there. I feel like that's a shitload.
It is a shitload.
So he went 35 for 61, 355 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and then the 2 fumbles. Just a turnover crazy sort of day for Goff.
The next game, Pittsburgh versus Baltimore, 28-24. Pittsburgh wins. Scott's 3 words are respect, don't fear. That's what Tomlin said to the Steelers. That's what the Steelers do with Lamar Jackson. They respect him, but they don't fear him. Jackson, after last year, looked very pedestrian this year, and the Ravens can't seem to find a groove, which I think is true.
And that showed because the game actually started with a pick 6 on Lamar, and the defense just kept showing him who's the boss.
He had 4 turnovers.
4 turnovers, 4 sacks. They were absolutely all over him. Lamar still did what he does, runs around, ends up with 18 points. And he did have a long touchdown called back. So that could have been a 20-point week. But that's kind of been happening this year. Lamar has not been his fantasy performing self. Definitely not the quarterback 2 that you drafted.
Well, you have to assume that last year, I mean, he had 3,600 yards, but 36 touchdowns, something like that. But they were a lot of high percentage dump passes. Some were, big break touchdowns. They had it going for him.
He had an unheard amount. It was like he was scoring every 7th pass attempt or something like that.
It was pretty crazy.
It was unreal. That you knew that number was going to raise.
So
Marquise Brown, did you guys see his tweet?
No.
He's got Antonio Brown's cousin starting to show a little bit. After the game, he tweeted, "What's the point of having soldiers, SOULJAHS, if you never throw to him?" Parentheses, all caps, never. So people don't think it was directed at Lamar. They think it was directed at
the game
offensive coordinator.
Okay, OC.
Who I believe he was the offensive coordinator that was in San Francisco forever.
Oh, geez.
Popular
okay.
name, yeah. I just can't think of it right this second. But yeah, so he's already coming out and complaining to the world about his lack of
Greg Roman.
But
I'm in the same boat. What's the point in having him if you're not going to throw the ball to him? 2 receptions on, I think, 2 targets? Maybe 3 targets? Get him the damn ball. I started him.
he's a first-round pick.
Was it 2 receptions? I thought it was just the 1 catch for the touchdown. I think he was 1 for 5 and a score.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
2 targets,
Yeah.
1 reception. The touchdown was cool. Like, that's nice. That's fun. But get me a 70-yard touchdown while you're at it.
Juju also had some words for him to say. I think there was a play he got a catch on the sideline, and then Brown was right there, and he kind of talked to him a little bit, Maybe said, we'll talk after the game or what it was, but trash talk or in-game, whatever they're saying. You never know, but thought that was pretty interesting. Juju had a decent day, 13.7 points. Claypool was the good guy, and Deontay Johnson was the bad guy.
Went out again with another injury. Hamstring, I believe.
He was back in, though, at the end of the game.
Was he?
Yep, he was in there on the 4th quarter when they were driving. So
there's some concerns with it.
Deontay?
I mean, his body this year. He's had, I think it was a hamstring this game. I'm not 100% sure, but went out with that.
And he's been
concussion,
banged
back,
up, chest,
thigh. Like he's gone out with a couple different things. So I mean,
that's what happens when you get peppered with targets, though. Deontay's the man when he's healthy.
Yeah, but you got to stay on the field.
Yep.
That's my biggest concern with him. Now, obviously, number one to have is Juju, in my opinion, because he's been on the field and he's staying consistent. He's not going to be your big play guy, but he has the potential to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. Juju is definitely the secondary guy. He needs a 1 to succeed.
I think with Deontay's injury, like just the last 4 weeks, I think Juju is the safest option on that team. Claypool and Deontay have the big playability. They have the chance to go off for 40 points.
The way I see this option, it's Deontay and Claypool coming in as the number 1, and then Juju's just always here as the 2. So Juju's always in the slot. Juju's the second option. But if your first option is open, that's where you're going to score touchdowns. And
who do you think
Deontay
is going to have
Claypool-
more fantasy points going the rest of the season? Juju, Claypool, or DJ? I think I would take Juju.
I think they're going to be similar.
I think they're going to be similar. I think they're all going to have their weeks where they go off. Because Juju's had about 2 games like that. Deontay's had 2. Claypool's had 2 now. They just spread it out. It's very similar to Tampa Bay's offense. They got weapons all over. You got to pick your weeks,
Ebron even got
the
in
open guy.
the end zone, I believe. He had, I think 1 touchdown.
Points, just about 15.
Yep.
And then Connor also with 15 points, had a touchdown on the ground, I believe, and really helped them win that game in the 4th quarter.
But on Baltimore, like we said, Lamar was disappointing. You said 18, but it turns out it was only 14.
Oh, yeah.
Is what we have written down.
Oh, wait. That 18 points, I'm sorry. That 18 points was by Pittsburgh's defense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Pittsburgh's D put up 18 in fantasy
when you get
points.
8 in turnovers alone, that helps.
Yeah.
But J.K. Dobbins blew up this game, 113 yards on 15 carries. Edwards got the score. He had a good day, too, though. 87 yards and a touchdown. The run game finally got going without Mark Ingram.
Yes.
And I've heard a couple of things. He might be. He's a great veteran. He's a great locker room presence, but trying to get him mixed in with carries, he just doesn't have the same pop that Edwards and Dobbins does. So it might be holding back their offense a little bit more than it's helping.
I think you saw that too against a really good Pittsburgh defense that still was able to put up about exactly 200 yards rushing with the running backs there. I think if Ingram was in there, it just kind of slows down their role, and they're not able to run the offense the way they want.
I think he could help a team. I just don't think it's the Ravens.
Send him to Detroit.
Tomorrow's the trade deadline.
There.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is the trade deadline?
Yep.
So we still
There's
got
a lot of talk and not a lot of action right now.
I think it's
We'll
going to be
see.
a
Tomorrow's
midnight-
going to be a popping day.
Yeah, midnight into 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. You'll start hearing some rumors.
Definitely. We're going to wake up with a couple of notifications that so-and-so got traded, I think.
So without Ingram, if he is traded or if he's banged up or whatever the situation is with him, which running back would you rather have, Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins?
J.K. Dobbins with a bullet.
Same.
Okay.
He's good.
He's talented.
Edwards
I loved
isn't
him in
bad
college.
either.
I loved him coming out. He's good. I like Dobbins. I want him even with Ingram there.
Fair enough. I like Dobbins as well, but Edwards he gets the valuable touches. We'll say that. Goal line opportunity is going to Edwards.
Not much else in this game for the other players. Like you said, Brown had the 1 touchdown. Snead had 5 for 106, which was the best receiving day of anybody. And Andrews had another dud, 3 for 36. But when your quarterback's not playing well, not everybody's going to eat.
Exactly.
That's how that goes. The next game, the Jets versus the Chiefs, 35-9. Chiefs win. Star Lamar.
I got better next year. Now, you might think I'm talking about the Jets when I say that. I'm not talking about the Jets as a team. So what they're saying now is that during the draft, they had some interest in Patrick Mahomes when their pick was on. Patrick Mahomes thought he was going to the Jets. And they said internally, that's a better draft next year. Let's wait and get a quarterback next year, which they did. They got Sam Darnold, and Patrick Mahomes throws 5 touchdowns on them and whoops their ass. So better next year, bit them in the ass.
Oh, man. It really did. Mahomes, 5 touchdowns, 36 fantasy points this game. He dominated. Even when they didn't need to score, they were throwing it and they were scoring. So maybe that was a little shot at them as well on the whole better next year.
And there was nothing on the ground. It was all your stars.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Kelsey, they all ate.
Yeah, Hardman had a good day. I think he had like 9 targets, 100 and some yards, and a touchdown. He ended with about
7 catches
20.
for 98.
Yeah, 9 targets must have been what it was.
Yep. Kelsey had the 8 catches for 109 and 1.
Hill 4 for 98 and 2. I mean, they all had a very, very good day. Even Robinson got into the end zone there at the end. So I mean, awesome to see. That was a lot of fun, especially when you have Mahomes on your team.
Yes. Yeah, he's looking like Mr. We'll save it for later.
Mr. Unlimited.
That's what he was looking like this week.
Without a doubt. But then on the ground game, you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Bell. I mean, since Bell got into this mix, I know we were talking about this off air, they've basically been split. It's not been split snap-wise. Edwards-Helaire is getting those snaps. But for touches and efficiency, they're damn near the same. I think they both had about 10 touches total with receptions and carries. And then if you count the yards were within 10. So how do you guys feel? Is this a running back by committee now? Is this Edwards-Helaire's backfield to lose?
I'm still taking Helaire.
Okay.
Bell, I think, was there to spell a little bit of the carries, the workload. He was going against his former team. I think that might have had something to do with it, but I think Helaire is going to get a bulk of those carries, and he's going to get a majority of those looks.
I have to believe it's Helaire because I drafted him in the first round. His production was there. He's had a couple dud games, this one included, but he's had good games. And Le'Veon Bell can't even remember what those are.
Oh my!
It's been so long for him since he's had a good fantasy game. So I don't know why you'd bring him in and then all of a sudden be like, oh, you got 150 yards 2 weeks ago, but we're not going to give you the ball. We're going to give it to this old man that's still trying to figure it out
You're saying
again.
2 weeks ago. What happened last week? It was the same thing. Even his first week with Kansas City, not against his old team, he came in, split about the same workload with catches and carries.
Clyde got a touchdown.
Clyde got the touchdown, so he ended with more points, but the yardage was very similar as well.
Again, I think talent wins out, and not that Le'Veon Bell isn't talented.
Oh my gosh.
Edwards-Helaire is more talented. Bell's lost
right
a step.
now.
I don't know. I want to see how this one shakes out.
You're
I think it's
holding
without
on
a doubt.
to a Le'Veon Bell that just doesn't exist anymore, Gage. That's what you're holding on to.
I don't agree with that. I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs bring him in if he's not that same Le'Veon Bell.
What about Adrian Peterson, DeAndre Swift? It's kind of the same conversation that we're having right now.
And same with Mark Ingram and
you
J.K.
think
Dobbins.
they need
there's
to
this
go
new
with
school and then there's old school.
Yeah.
And there is an all-pro running back that's in the backfield with Kansas City right now. I know one thing. Andy Reid loves proven guys. He brought in Shady, didn't work out, he didn't get anything. Bell, I think, will be a different story. I think this is a running back by committee. I think it's going to be a murky backfield. That's not going to be good for fantasy. And then on the Jets side of the ball, I have literally nothing. If you have a Jets option on your fantasy team, what the hell are you doing?
Did Jamison Crowder play?
He was out.
He was
Crowder
out.
was out.
I was going to say he gets 20 points every time, doesn't he?
The only
was.
thing, Braxton Berrios, he did kind of fill that Crowder role. He had 8 catches, but I think he turned it into less than 40 yards. So like I said, if you have a Jets player on your roster, do you have an opening in your league? I want to play with you.
I have a Jets guy on my roster.
Who?
I have P. Ryan.
Okay.
I have him.
Lamical?
Lamical. Yes, I have Lamical Pirani, according to Scott. But I have him as just like a high hope. You know, like maybe I will probably never start him because, yeah, I probably won't ever start him.
Who was I thinking of? Just like Powell. Like maybe they'll figure it out. 2 years ago, the Jets with Powell.
And they just don't.
They just don't.
I think it's time for us to take an ad break.
That is a good idea.
All right, let's take an ad break. Can't believe he fumbled that ball.
Barely got up.
That was Fournette, wasn't it?
Jones.
Rip through him.
Okay.
All right, and we're back. We're gonna bang through these remaining games here. Chargers versus Denver, 31-30. Denver edges it out. Gage's rage.
Rookie can't close. Herbert had the fucking game. They were up by a shitload of points. Fourth quarter, all he could do was get up and get field goals, and when you kick field goals instead of score touchdowns, you lose the game. It was pretty ugly. We'll start with Denver. Lindsey ended up with a 15.6 points, but it all came on one big splash play. He had a 55-yard touchdown.
It was a nice run, though.
It was a solid
flashy run.
And it was exactly what the Denver Broncos needed.
Gave him a spark. Locke looked really bad in the first half, but second half, he started to pick it up. He ended with 248, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 19 points. Solid week. I don't think I'm putting him in a fantasy lineup.
No, you need another week to see if he's come back from his injury.
And then possibly, maybe. I mean, in my situation, probably. And he'll probably have a bad week, and the guy I drop will have a good week, but we'll see.
And he also got the rookie KJ Hamler going. He had 4 for 82 and 1, so he ends with 18 points. About pretty solid week for the rookie. First kind of breakout game, I'd say, for KJ Hamler. And, yeah, Gordon with the... What's the deal with Melvin Gordon? Is he worth stashing on your lineup? Is it going to be the handcuff with Lindsey? Who's the guy?
He's worth having on your team. Who are you dropping him for? Lamical Pirani?
This could still be punishment for his D-dub.
The D-dub is still floating over his head, too.
But,
yeah, that's a 3-4 game suspension just waiting to happen.
I think he's worth having. I want to see how it plays out. I don't know where he's going to end up. But yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to hold on to him. Who else is out there as a viable running back? And who's to say that Lindsey stays healthy?
Yeah, Lindsey's just one hit away from being out for a few weeks, and then Gordon's that starter.
Exactly. So, yes. Am I starting him every week? Probably not.
But roster.
But I'm keeping him on my team.
And then on the Chargers side, like we said, Herbert he started out a little shaky. That wind was whipping around in the afternoon still, but then he came alive. He found a few touchdowns to Keenan Allen, who ended with 21.7 points. He also hit Mike Williams for one touchdown, but a couple really good deep balls. He ended with about 21 points as well. And Allen was really showing his frustration in that fourth quarter when they were settling for field goals instead of
he was pissed.
making touchdowns. And the
There's
balls were all going
throws
to Mike
was
Williams and fucking who's this new rookie guy that they keep throwing the ball too deep? Guyton. This Guyton cat is really getting a lot of targets, and I think Allen's getting a little heated about it.
Allen still had a good day, but I saw the one play where he got really frustrated, and it was to Mike Williams, I think, in the back corner of the end zone. And
3rd and 10.
Yeah,
missed him by 10 yards.
Yeah, it was bad. It was a bad throw.
So he was extremely upset about that, and I mean, it lost him the game.
Yeah.
Settling for 3. As Vikings fans, we know it loses you games, and they're seeing the frustration there, but I don't think I think it's a mirage. I don't think it's a trend.
So, besides Herbert having some tough decisions late in the game, he did end with a pretty solid performance. I don't have his fantasy points here, but it was over 20. I think it was about 22, 23 points. Do you think he's a top 5 quarterback with his rushing ability and what you've seen so far through his rookie season?
Potentially
within, we'll say, the next 2 to 5 years.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, the next 2 to 5, he could be a top 5 quarterback. This year, no.
I don't think,
He's fighting Mahomes, Murray, Wilson,
Russ, yeah.
Josh Allen, even.
Tom
sitting
Brady.
up there.
Even.
Tom Brady's playing well. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's got too much right now. 5 years, you're probably not going to have Rodgers.
Yeah.
Probably not going to have.
How about 2? Next 2 years. Does he hit top 5 at least once? He's got the offense for it. I think if they could stay healthy, he definitely could.
I could see him hit in the next 2 years.
The only issue I see with that is depends on what his team does. He's good because his team is bad. Like, look at Lamar Jackson. His team is good. His numbers are way down because he doesn't have to do it. So if that Chargers team ascends and they become competitive and he doesn't have to throw for 350 yards and rush for a touchdown, his numbers could go down the better his team gets.
I think he would be the reverse. I think his success will determine how successful his team is. So if he's great, his team will be great, and it depends on the quarterback play. I think this showed, him being sort of that Rivers type. It really reminded me of a Rivers quarterback that starts off, has some great stats, but then you don't know what to do with that lead. You can't keep the foot on the gas pedal, and they come back and sneak a win out of you on a Sunday that you should have walked away with a win.
And they just gave away Desmond King for a pizza or something like that. They traded Desmond King for a 6th-round pick, I believe.
Wow.
Are you serious?
All-pro 2 years ago.
King's a solid corner.
Yeah. Woo.
They do have talent there, but
yeah, they're pretty deep on on all aspects.
They picked up the corner.
Chris Harris.
Harris from the Broncos. They had Desmond King, and who was the other one that they had? They had another good one. Casey Hayward.
They do have Casey Hayward.
Yep. And then Derwin James, obviously he's hurt
this year. But
and then they had another solid safety. Derry.
Murray. Do they still have to go for Murray?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But anyways.
Kenneth Murray, linebacker.
Pretty solid defense.
Next game, we have Minnesota versus Green Bay, 28-22. Vikings win! Let's skull. Gage, your 3 words.
Fucking called it. Okay, I'll give you guys a real one. Cooked, well done is what I'll say. Dalvin Cook absolutely fucking went off. 48.6 points. The 4 touchdowns. We all saw it. 163 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. And then he catches the screen for a 50-yard score, ends with 2 for 63 and 1.
And because of his dominant day, sadly, it left nothing for the wide receivers because Cousins only threw 14 times. 11 for 14, 160 and 1. Thielen ended with roughly 10 points. I think Jefferson ended with like 2 point something, just under 5.
Not good.
No.
Yeah.
Not good, but when you're not passing the ball, you're not going to have a good day. Green Bay was kind of in the same boat. Not really a great day for anybody. Rodgers had an okay day.
His
291 and
first
3, 21 points. That's not bad, but Adams was really the only one. Williams had 18.2, which wasn't bad, but 7 for 53 and 3 touchdowns. Adams was the obvious winner.
It was the
on
Cook
that
and
game.
Adams show all day. Not really anything else to say. I mean,
No.
I guess Jamal Williams did have a decent day with Aaron Jones hurt. But, yeah, it was...
That's about
That
to
was
end.
so fun to watch.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. I loved it. It was. I wasn't expecting it. You know, you're waiting for the moment where you're like, oh man, when are we gonna let Rodgers Roger us? And
We
we
that
held
talk.
through.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
We had the text in the fourth quarter. Star thought I was going to jinx the team, but
Thought he was coming over to your place and he was gonna just beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, it was. I was mad at Gage. I'm a believer in jinxes, and it's kind of like throwing a no in baseball. You don't talk
you
about
never
it.
talk about it. Yep.
You don't talk about it till it's happened. And so when we're playing Aaron Rodgers, who's a fucking bad man, we know what he can do with the football. We know how much time it takes for him to score. Nothing. And you're already talking like we're winning at the beginning of the fourth quarter. I'm thinking we're going to lose. You did it.
Hey.
You just did it.
When
And
Cook scored
listen.
that fourth, it was in the bag.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that strip sack at the end where Rodgers just got smoked, winding up for the deep Hail Mary that they were probably going to catch.
That's either two ways. We are crying tears of joy or crying tears of sadness after that fucker is completed.
And it was tears of joy. That was awesome. I loved watching him get smoked. That was fun.
I might be looking too much into this, but Kirk Cousins posted a picture post-game of him handing the ball off to Dalvin Cook, and it was not liked by not Harrison Smith, Adam Thielen or Justin Jefferson. So I don't know if I'm reading too much into this. There's like every other Viking liked it besides the wide receivers.
I mean, maybe. They're probably upset. It was a bad day, but
Go
they
shut
should be
the
happy with the
fuck
win.
up. Yeah, if your team's winning, who gives a shit what you do on the day? If you help them
They
win.
could have liked their quarterback's post.
Maybe they just
Commending
haven't
Dalvin
seen
Cook.
it yet. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe.
I mean, Dalvin Cook liked it.
Well, of course,
yeah, he's
Dalvin
tagged
Cook
in
liked it. Yeah.
It's his picture.
Next game, we have the Saints versus Chicago, 26-23. In overtime, the Saints win. Star Lamar.
Battle of the Bastards. It was a close-fought game, probably too close. Saints win in overtime, but the best part of the game was when C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who must just have a punchable face.
Oh, my gosh.
Cheap-shotted by Javon Wims. Rumor has it that Michael Thomas went to the Bears locker room and dapped him up afterwards. I was like, thanks, dude. Like, I hate him, too. I just got suspended for punching him. But who knows what he actually did. They were showing replays of him poking Anthony Miller in the
Through
cheek.
the face mask.
And then Wims said after the game that he got spit on. But
Ooh.
he rocks up to him from behind, rips his mouth guard on, close fist punches him, smarts up a little bit, open fist punches him.
The close
Gardner
probably
Johnson.
hurt.
Yeah, I'm guessing his hand didn't feel good after that. When are they going to learn? Hopefully sooner than later. But it seemed like Johnson did nothing. He just sat there. Like he wasn't even fighting back until the second one. Jack Rabbit came, jumped on his back. Fight broke out. Wims is suspended for 2 games. He's probably getting fined.
Oh, definitely.
Best part of the game.
I'd agree with that without a doubt. Kamara and Taysom Hill actually did the best fantasy-wise, I'd say. Kamara had the 25.3 points, and Hill had 14.5.
He had a receiving touchdown.
Yeah, the receiving touchdown was pretty cool. ESPN uses him as a tight end in the fantasy world, so
Yep. So you're allowed to flex him and still start a quarterback.
pretty freaking weird. But I get it. He's one of those players
He's a
that
gadget
does
player. Yep.
it. Jared Cook also scored a touchdown. He ended with 16.1 points.
He had one either called back on penalty or tough play, drop, and then the next play he caught one. So that was
Yeah, it was
recovery.
a drop
his
and then
day.
went back to him. And then Breeze also had about 19 points, had a pretty decent day for the aged 40-something-year-old Breeze. Again, the Michael Thomas thing. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but do you think he plays the rest of the season? Is he going to play as a Saint?
There were rumors about him getting traded. I don't know how true. I heard that they were open to dealing him, so I'm not 100% sure. I would say obviously if he doesn't get traded, he's going to play this year. They need him. They really, really need him to win games. I mean, they're pulling off a few here, but they're close games. They need a guy who can catch the ball and has that type of talent and game-changing ability.
Open up everything when he comes back.
Yep.
And Emmanuel Sanders, too.
Yeah.
Who've had one good game and then hasn't played
Left.
since.
Montgomery, on the Chicago side, Montgomery, average week, 12.5 points. Allen Robinson had a pretty good day, 20.7. And Darnell Mooney ended with 17.9. But BDN, not super great, 16 points, or FLF as some people call them.
Long folds.
The Saints, sorry, I'm trying to read this.
Oh, yeah. So the Bears kind of gave this up after, obviously, Green Bay had lost to the Vikings, and the Chicago Bears saw that. It was kind of disappointing that they couldn't hold on to this game and win it in overtime to take the division back from the Green Bay Packers. The other question I had coming out of this game, do you take a swing at a player who's still got his fucking helmet on?
No.
Like, that fucking swing by Wims must have hurt quite a bit. I don't get it.
Just punching a face in general hurts.
Yeah. Do what he did.
Skull.
Try and get up under that face mask and get the face a little bit. Don't fucking punch him right in the face mask.
I wonder if that's why he took the mouth guard, though. I'm going to rattle his teeth.
Oh, actually. And you know what? When
you
he
can
hit
see
the
the
face,
first one, he comes up under it and like it looks like he's
snatching
a
his chain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something like that.
But yeah, like you said, it makes sense to rip the mouth guard out, and then I mean your helmet is strapped in pretty good. The open hand one when he was shaking his head,
Yeah.
it could have shook him around a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, don't swing at a guy with a helmet on.
All right, the next game we had the San Francisco 49ers going against the Seattle Seahawks. 37-27, Seattle crushed it. The 3 words, Brandon?
I had a tough one. I had a tough time with this one. Better QB wins. I don't know. I mean,
Russ is better than Mullins. That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, Garoppolo going out hurt. I mean, how many times can you mention DK Metcalf? He's a stud. Obviously, he's a stud. He had a fucking massive day, but when it comes down to it, it's the better quarterback, and he's the best quarterback in that division, and I mean, he's arguably the best quarterback in the NFC.
Yeah.
Especially this year. So, I mean, he won the game for him.
Without a doubt.
The way he plays. So, the better QB wins. That's definitely what I'm going with.
We'll start on the San Francisco side. Ayuk had a pretty solid day with 23.1 points. I think he scored 1 in the air and also had a couple rushes or he just had solid production all the way around.
He's taking advantage of other guys being out.
Samuel,
which is what you want. He's a good fill-in, and if Kittle's done for the year, he's a solid guy to keep on your team and to play every week.
Without a doubt. Kendrick Bourne also filling in with those injured guys. I think he had a score and had 16 points about.
An anomaly.
Yeah, but with Deebo Samuel, George
depending
Kittle,
on when Deebo comes back, but yeah.
He's definitely going to be an option. And then Nick Mullins came in for the injured GQ, put up 17 points in the fourth quarter alone. Absolutely dominated what Jimmy had done to that point.
Sad.
And then the rushing game was, I mean,
there's not much to talk about. McKinnon got into the end zone. No, they called him short. They called him short.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that was on the
2
point conversion. They called him short, is what it was.
Yeah. Hasty had 1 score, but not a good week. But on the other side, Seattle, like you said, DK absolutely clobbered 40.1 points, the 2 scores, 12 touchdowns, and then as you know, Russ.
Mr. Unlimited.
28 points, 4 touchdowns. He was absolutely spraying the ball all over. DK had 2 of them. Rookie DJ Dallas comes in when the injured
Carson
and Carson were out. He gets his first start as a rookie and turns it into 2 scores and almost 23 points on the day. 1 through the air, 1 through the ground. He did pretty decent. On the other hand, Lockett was about 7.3 points right after his 50-plus point week last week. He has that up and down. He's not the solid. He's not the solid points getter like DK Metcalf seems to be. But he will obviously have those weeks where him and Russ just have that connection to do whatever the fuck they want to do. My question for you boys out of this game, can Lockett and Metcalf both go off in the same game? I'm saying like 20-plus points.
Definitely. Will it happen? I don't know, but they definitely can do it.
Yeah, and with Russ throwing the way he is right now.
I mean, Lockett's got a 50-point game. DK got a 40-point game. I mean,
I could see them each getting 100 and touchdown
easy
in a game.
Yeah, 6 catches, 100 and a touchdown.
It seems so far that it tends to go one way or the other.
Yeah.
Depending on the defense and what they can guard. If they can guard the big physical wideout or if they can guard the slot guy. But they definitely can both get 20 points a game. Easy.
Maybe Seattle's playing the big brain game and waiting for the playoffs or the more valuable games to start showing off what they can do.
I'll put it this way. If I had either of them, I'm starting them with confidence.
Every week.
Lockett is a little bit more hit or miss. He hits big, but he can get you the 7.8, the sub 10 potentially. But yeah, they both can hit.
Both starters. And then I think this is our last game of the conclusion. Last game that we have fully locked down. Dallas versus Philly was the Sunday night game. 23-9. Philly had taken that one. Scott's 3 words.
Winner of losers. My God, I've been a Wentz apologist because he has all the tools. But does this guy really think all those turnovers are going to keep you as a starter in the league for long? Question the fire in his belly to truly succeed sometimes. And that's an issue.
I love this. I wish Scott was here to say that in person because I almost don't believe he sent that to you. But he has been a Wentz apologist. I love hearing him call him out because he played really bad. He tried his best to give the Dallas game, or give the game away to Dallas.
Wentz is making a guy named Travis Fulgham a household name amongst fantasy communities.
You heard Charge 3 weeks ago. Travis Fulgham is not a mirage. He is absolutely a marvel.
Yeah, but a marvel because
him.
of his quarterback.
No, it's not because of his quarterback, man. He's just chucking up balls to Fulgham, and Fulgham is going up and making plays. Fulgham is an athlete. He's an undrafted guy. He's got something to prove. Chip on the shoulder attitude. I like Fulgham a lot. I don't like Wentz a lot.
That's fine. You can be wrong. It's okay.
So on the Dallas side, DiNucci was the quarterback for the start.
You mean Ben DiNucci?
Ben DiNucci. Dallas is absolutely missing something without an NFL caliber starter. DiNucci
trade for Cousins.
is a 7th round pick for a reason. He's just Dallas is very, very murky odds. Looking forward to the rest of the season without. Hopefully Dalton can come out of the concussion protocol, but
it's tough because not any of those guys on that team are really you're feeling comfortable starting.
No.
With Ben DiNucci. Even with the Red Rocket, you're not feeling super comfortable with really any of them.
Zeke had some issues before all this started, and then they get Zach Martin back on the offensive line, and all that turned into was 8 points for Zeke. So he wasn't able to get the solid offensive lineman back and turn it into something productive. Gallup did have the best day out of the receivers with 13 points, and he was peppered with targets. I don't know how many he got for sure, but it was around double digits. But Cooper was almost forgettable with the 1 catch for 5 yards. On the Philadelphia side, like we said, Wentz was...
He Wentzed up.
His defense wouldn't let him
lose that
though.
game. No.
They scored 21 points on their own and carried the team to the victory, while Wentz put up 8.6 points. Fulgham had another solid week, almost 20 points in the air, and the rookie Rager scored his first touchdown in his first start. 13.2 points for the rookie, and Scott was the leading rusher with Sanders still hurt, almost at 10 points. My question for you guys is Fulgham going to stay as a fantasy threat, as a fantasy starter
Absolutely.
the rest of the season?
Yes.
When you got a quarterback like Wentz, 100%.
All right. Why did I even ask?
Rager's apologizing for Carson Wentz. He doesn't have the fire in his belly.
No fire.
No fire. But Fulgham, I'm full erect when he's on the field. Quite the insight.
Thank you, Bat Scott. And the last game of the week will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New York Giants. We obviously don't know the score. Currently, it's the start of the second quarter. New York is driving while they have the lead 7-3. I'm going to read the future, though, and say Tom beats the Giants. Tom beats Giants. This game.
The only thing that the Giants have going for him is Joe Judge. There's a lot of familiarity with Tom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was
How
a
so?
New England coach.
Oh, I had no idea.
Wide receiver, special teams guy, or something like that.
So he might have some little tricks on how to beat Tom. But
The trick is throw it to Evan Ingram on every single pass until he gets 18 points, and then just who cares what happens. That's how I feel about it.
Fair
Daniel
enough.
Jones, fastest man alive. Let him run the ball.
Faster than
They just
Tyreek
did.
Hill.
They just gave him an outside run. Rip into a couple bud plugs of the week. We mentioned him earlier. Corey Davis.
Yep.
He's owned in like 36% of leagues. He's worth picking up, worth a flex play on a matchup dependent, especially with bye weeks. Marvin Jones with Kenny Galladay going down is definitely worth checking into.
Yes.
And then Zach Pascal. I don't know where I rate him. He's the third on my list of bud plugs for myself.
And that groin injury for T.Y. Hilton is
That's what helps.
yeah.
That's what helps his situation. But
I would almost say Trey Burton is the bud plug with that injury to Ty, because Phillip Rivers just doesn't throw to wide receivers as it is.
That's fair.
But in Indianapolis pass catcher, look into him, see who you like, pick one up.
We're going to take a quick ad break. We're going to get into our locks and long shots, and we're going to wrap up this podcast.
Hell yeah!
Fucking just missed him.
Who scored the touchdown?
Was it Gollum?
Or Dion?
It was Deion Lewis.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lewis.
The Rager touchdown was sick. Did you see it?
I haven't seen it, no.
It's just a little 2-yarder, right?
Yeah, but he gets bounced out, and then he just reaches it out.
Oh, man, that was close.
Yeah.
That was a nice play.
Like heads up.
And we're back from that ad break. Hopefully it's in the right spot there. We're going to
Yeah, I'm putting it in, so it'll be probably right around where it's supposed to be. What are we at? Okay.
All right, so we are going to go into locks and long shots of the week, as long as our pick'em.
Yes. Well, I don't know if the pick'em's updated or not.
We don't have to worry about
Fuck
that.
it.
I
We'll go
had,
right
make
into
a
locks
post.
and long shots.
I had an average week.
So our first matchup of the week is going to be the Saints, who just beat the Bears in overtime, against these Buccaneers playing on Monday night.
I was wondering what you were pointing at. You're pointing at the TV. I'm like, what is he? What? These aren't the Saints.
Are at the Buccaneers. Who do you got?
Give me the Bucks.
I think it's going to be a split for the series. I think the Bucks win this one, especially if they somehow manage to lose to the Giants.
Yes, I agree. Bucks at home is going to be a tough matchup.
I'll also take the Bucks. I'm a Tom Brady apologist. I love avocado ice cream. Go Bucks.
Scott agrees as well. The next matchup we have here is the Dolphins at the Cardinals.
I should say roll the ship.
Scott, who you got?
Ma. Go Bucks.
Dolphins at the Cards. Scott.
I'm going to take the rookie and the Fins.
Ooh.
Give me the Fins. Wow, bold strategy, Cotton.
Bold
we'll see if it pays off for
strategy.
him. I'm going to take the Cardinals.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm going to take the Cardinals coming off their bye week.
I'm going Cards as well. Scott was the lone wolf on there.
It doesn't matter. Dolphins can swim. And I see a monsoon coming.
Yeah, that hurricane is a little further south, Scott.
Fuck.
The next matchup we have is the Seahawks going to the Buffalo Bills. I'll start this one off. I am a definite Bills Mafia fan. At home against a good team, it's going to be some fireworks. Hopefully Josh Allen comes back and gives me this dub. Give me the Bills.
I'm going Hawks. I don't think the Bills are as good as they looked at the beginning of the year. The last 3 weeks have been not so great. Give me the Hawks.
Hashtag fool's gold. That's what Bills are right now.
Oh, damn.
I know. I was on Bills Mafia there for a hot minute. I'm still...
No, you weren't.
Yeah, all right. My Bills card has been removed for picking against them 3 weeks in a row. I'm taking the Seahawks.
I will not allow you on this Bills Mafia train. And
Josh Allen is so inaccurate. I'm going to take Mr. Unlimited.
hell yeah, I love that one better than him actually saying himself.
All right, now we get into the lock. I'm going to take the Patriots over the Jets as my lock of the week, which
Almost
feels
took
like
them as my long shot.
could be the long shot. I'm also going to take the Raiders over the Chargers as my long shot of the week.
Yeah, those are pretty good picks. I'm going to take the Colts over the Ravens for my long shot of the week. And for my lock, I'm going to roll with it and take the Vikings at home against the Lions.
Keep going with it, right? Get us those dubs.
Play
Purple
with my
Pride.
heart.
For my lock, I'm going to go with the Steelers over the Cowboys. Because I feel like the children of the Steelers could probably beat the Cowboys right now. And for my long shot, I'm going to take the G-Men over the Washington football team.
Oh, that's a good pick. And Scott, who do you have for your lock?
That's who Daniel Jones wins against.
You're right. His fourth win, probably, against the freaking Washington football team.
I traded for him, and I have to stick by him. Patrick Mahomes is going to lead the Chiefs.
God, Batman
Over the
started
Panthers.
smoking a pack a day between the last time he talked to this.
All right,
time.
Bad Scott, who's your long
I've had
shot?
a rough day. My long shot of the week, because the great Brandino knows what he's talking about. I'm going to copy him and take the Raiders over the Chargers.
Good copy. That's right up your alley, Bad Scott.
What a guy. What a guy. Well, guys, I think that kind of wraps up this episode. Unless you guys have anything more you want
One more
say?
time. Fuck you guys. I picked the Vikings, and they're my bitches. We're
Yeah.
going to roll out and
Fuck
break
you
this-
Vikings
guys.
are your bitches.
Fuck you guys. No, you
fuck-
two
Don't
and
talk
Bad
to our
Scott.
listeners that way.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
fuck
hey.
y'all.
Don't talk to our listeners that way. They're
We're earning that
respectable
explicit
people.
tag.
I'm a
This is
married
house
man.
of learned doctors.
I know you may have some interest.
The first of many. Vikings are on the road to
just 'cause we had,
500,
You know,
and they ain't
college
stopping when they
experience
get there.
together.
We're getting that fucking 7th playoff spot, baby.
11-5.
Perfect.
Go jerk off.
Check out our website,
You're such a
www.officialbutthole.com. We're on all socials at You Official wish. Butthole. Please leave
Oh,
us
I know
a
you are.
rating and review on Apple Music.
Remember, we
We'll see
roomed
you next
together
time.
in college. You're making me blush.
Yeah, that's me.
Fucking Fournette.